Diabetes is so insidious you never know where it will strike. For some, it means kidney failure. For others, it leads to bad circulation, which results in amputation of toes, feet, or legs. But for our guest today, it struck him in the eyes, to the point that his eye doctor told him he would be blind in 5 years if he lived that long. Well, folks, we've got a treat for you. We've got a man with a powerful story, a very articulate man named Jim Bartlett. Jim, welcome to Beat Diabetes.
Well, thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time and having the willingness to share your story. And tell us, how old are you? Where do you live? And then we'll get into your journey and your struggle with diabetes.
Yeah, I'm 57 years old. I live in western PA, just about as far west as you can get, about a mile or so from the Ohio line.
Imagine you get some snowy winters there, huh?
We're waiting for spring. This is what, May 2nd or somewhere in there, and it hasn't come yet.
Oh, wow. Well, I have to say I'm kind of happy to be in Texas because we've had spring for a couple of months now. It's starting to get close to summer. But anyway, we're not here to talk about weather. Let's talk about your struggle with diabetes. Tell us how you first became aware you had a problem and where it went from there.
Yeah, I gained a bunch of weight from 1998, 99 in through about 2005. Well, actually, I gained about 60 pounds, and it was January 1st of 2005. We were getting ready to leave for Hawaii for 5 weeks, and it was the night before, December 31st. And the girl said, "Oh, we got to go into town to Walmart. We got to get some things for the trip." We didn't realize. So as we're driving into town, all of a sudden I said to the girls, I says, "I can't read the road signs. I can't see what the speed limit sign." It was crazy, and I didn't really think, I didn't know what it was. I just thought, well, maybe I'm tired. We're packing for this trip. And the whole time we were in Hawaii, I just had incredible thirst, just insatiable. Of course, had to go to the restroom a lot. It was just, we still had a good time, but I didn't know what was going on. And when we got home, doing some research and then talked to the doctor, that's when I found out that it was diabetes.
Yeah, well, you had all the classic symptoms for sure. So you had a diagnosis way back in 2005 of diabetes, is that right?
Yes, I did.
And what was your A1C at that time, do you know?
I don't remember. I'm going to say it was probably around 7 or 8. I don't know. I don't honestly remember. It's been too long ago. Okay.
So where did it go from there? Now that 2005 goes back quite a few years. Did you get things fixed, or did you just ignore it? What was your response to this diagnosis?
I started eating less. I probably ate about 6,000 calories a day. I had an incredible appetite. So over the next 3 years, from like 2005 to 2008, I lost 60 pounds, just not specifically dieting, just smaller portions, better choices. But I didn't really do anything per se about the diabetes. I thought that just losing weight was all I needed to do. And I did lose weight, and I just kind of forgot about the diabetes after that.
Were you taking any meds at that time, or are you just depending on losing weight?
I tried. The doctor gave me some metformin, and it just made me so miserable. Don't want to get disgusting here, but running to the bathroom. So no, I didn't take it. I just started eating a little better, exercising, and just slowly lost about 60 pounds over about 3 years. I thought that was all I needed to do. Thought I was good. Never went back to the doctor.
Well, and I'm assuming that your symptoms, such as the frequent urination and the blurriness of vision, went away for a while?
Yeah, they did. So I thought, hey, I'm good. I cured myself.
So that was round one, but you were going to face round two after a while. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, life goes on, and just kind of forgot about it, and I'm going along, and then a buddy of mine take a trip down to Central PA every September to a big antique power equipment tractor show, a little town called Center Hall by State College. And I'd say it was 2 years ago. We're driving down, and I'm thinking, boy, things just aren't as pretty as they used to be down here. And here, what it was is cataracts were coming on, and so that was, yeah, it was about 2019, because it gradually got worse and worse until I had to do something about it in 2021. And I just thought, well, I am in my mid 50s. I guess you get cataracts in your mid 50s. So didn't think anything about that. I just booked an appointment with the eye surgeon.
Yeah, so all these years, you were diagnosed way back in 2005, and now it's 2021. All these years, were you going to the doctor regularly and getting your blood sugar tested or getting A1Cs, or you were just kind of ignoring it and assuming everything was cool?
I'm a typical guy. If it ain't broke, you don't fix it. I felt good. I didn't have any symptoms. I had plenty of energy. Go, go, go. I work 55, 65 hours a week. Guys that are 25 and 30 ask me how I work what I work. So, no, I thought I was great. Superman.
So, yeah, you're working hard. You're feeling good. The only issue at this point was these cataracts. And but at some point, you found out you had more than just cataracts.
Yeah, when I made the appointment with the eye surgeon, I went in, and of course they give you the little tests that you do, and they determine, oh yeah, you got cataracts and all. So then I go in, and I actually sit down in the chair where the surgeon's going to come in, and he's going to examine your eyes. And before he examined me with the high powered equipment, he says, yeah, he goes, the girls say you definitely got cataracts. He goes, you're actually kind of young to be having cataracts this bad. He goes, he goes, you have a history of cataracts in the family? I said, no, actually, we don't. He goes, it's really odd for your eyes to be this bad. Let's see, at the time, that was a year ago, so I was 50, just shy of my 56th birthday. He goes, well, let's have a look. So he got his equipment, he looks in my eyes, and he's a small Cambodian man, real calm, real quiet-spoken, just so kind. And he pushes the equipment away, and he sits back from me, and he goes, Mr. Bartlett, he says, you're a diabetic, aren't you? I said, yeah, how do you know? He goes, I'm looking in your eyes, and he goes, you will be blind in 5 years if you live that long because you're not taking care of it. And it was like a punch to the stomach. And that's why the cataracts were brought on by the diabetes. I didn't realize that I knew the left eye was bad. I was 90% blind in the left eye, and I was 50% blind in the right eye. And I didn't even realize how bad the right eye was, because when he said what we were going to do to the left eye, he goes, then next week we'll do the right. I said, well, why do we got to do the right eye? I see fine. He goes, no, you don't. He says, you just see so bad out of the left, you don't realize how bad your right is. And so, we know what all that blood sugar does to our internal organs, but, we ignore it, I guess. And he said, I'm the worst kind of diabetic that there is because I generally didn't have symptoms, so I was able to ignore it. And that's very dangerous.
Yeah, as you've been saying this, I've been thinking about how insidious diabetes can be, and those high glucose levels and the accompanying high insulin. For some people, it can lead to kidney failure. For some people, it can lead to circulation problems till they have to have their toes or their feet or their legs amputated. And in your case, it seemed to strike particularly at your eyes. And we don't know why that is, why it hits one person in one direction, another in another. But for you, when your eyes are that bad and an ophthalmologist is telling you you could and probably will be blind in 5 years, that's pretty serious. I imagine that was a shock.
Yeah, it was a real shock. It was a shock, and it was also a bit of embarrassment because I had known that I had diabetes and just thought, well, must not be that serious because I don't notice anything. I don't feel anything. Well, yeah, my body was telling me my eyes are gradually getting worse and worse. And if the eyes are getting worse, then, there's other things in the body that are not doing well either, because it's like when you take an aspirin, it doesn't just go to the spot where the pain is, it goes through the whole body. So does your high blood sugar.
So I'm assuming that at that point you went to a regular doctor or a endocrinologist to have them take a look at you?
Actually, I didn't right away. Again, I'm not a person who tends to run to the doctor, There's the old joke, one time I died and my mom made me walk it off, told me I'd be fine. And that's kind of how we were brought up. Unless you truly are dying, you don't go to the doctor. Of course, if you got diabetes, you are dying, so don't follow my example. Go to the doctor. But no, instead, what I did was I contacted a good friend of mine who I knew had diabetes, and I had heard he was having success combating it through diet and nutrition. And I thought, well, I ate myself into this mess. Maybe I can eat myself out of this mess. So I got a hold of him. He was in Thailand. He splits his time between Houston and Thailand, and he was stuck over there because of the pandemic that was going on. But, with modern technology, it was just a matter of getting on Zoom and we talked. So that was what I did. I asked him, what did you do? And he led me to you.
Okay, so he'd been watching the Beat Diabetes channel.
Yes, he had.
And had seen quite a bit of success.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he takes no meds now whatsoever. It's a little tougher for him because he has actually been vegetarian for 50 years, I believe it is. So he didn't have some of the options. So when you don't have all of the options, it's a little harder for him to get the blood sugar down. But yeah, he stays between, almost always below 120, and sometimes even down below 100, despite the fact that he's limited on his diet.
He's telling you about the Beat Diabetes channel and probably sharing some of the things that we emphasize. Did you become an immediate believer, or what was your response at that point?
I sat and watched hours and hours and hours the first day he told me about it. I literally, I get up early in the morning, around 4 a.m. I probably only got 2 or 3 hours sleep that night because I stayed up so late watching videos. I just went back about as far as I could and just kept watching things and watching things and watching things. But more importantly than that, I didn't procrastinate. I took immediate action and I cut out the carbs. For the first 10 days, I bet I didn't have a carb a day. I became a carnivore for a week.
Did you start testing yourself?
Immediately went out and got I had an old meter, and to put batteries in it, and it still worked. But I went out and I watched one of your videos, and the Freestyle Freedom Light. I find that to be, whenever I check my blood sugar with it, then I go to the doctor, they're within 5 points of each other. I feel, and I'm not selling them obviously, but I feel that's the most accurate one that you can get until you get maybe to the continuous glucose monitors. I just love that one. It's just so accurate.
Okay, well, yeah, it's a little pricier than some, but it has a great reputation. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Dr. Richard Bernstein recommends that Freestyle Freedom Light.
The meter itself doesn't cost much more than any others. The thing is, the test strips, they're about 50 cents a piece. But I thought, you know what? I was slamming down Coca-Colas at $1.50, $2 a piece. I'm going to spend 50 cents. At least for a while, to have the most accurate information I can. And at the time, I didn't know about the CGMs. Interesting side point. Now that I have my sugar under control, my insurance won't allow me a continuous glucose monitor. They say I'm too healthy. That's
yeah, that's the irony of it all for sure.
Yeah. Oh well.
So you are testing yourself, you're watching Beat Diabetes, you're cutting your carbs way down. Are you starting to see, how long did it take you to see results? How long did it take you to say to yourself, wow, this is actually working?
The doctor asked me what my sugar was, the eye doctor, the surgeon. I said, I don't know. He goes, well, I think you should check. So I went and got the glucose monitor. My fasting sugar in the morning was 250, 275. My sugar after meals was 4.25, 450. It was just off the charts, because I lived on, I love pizza and pasta and French fries and everything that Americans are supposed to eat, right? Yeah, that's what I ate. Bread, oh my goodness, flapjacks, pancakes. I just love that stuff. So I went and got the meter, wrote down my numbers, cut the carbs. By the next day, my fasting glucose was 150. My glucose after a meal was like 175 or 180. Second day, fasting glucose was down to 140. Glucose after meals was around 150. Within 4 days, I broke the 125 mark. And I've never looked back since.
Wow, that is so great. And, in a way, I love to hear it, but in a way, it makes me a little fearful for the people who are watching that are saying, hey, Jim and Dennis, I've been doing this, for 6 months, and I'm still trying to get down below 200. So it's not going to be that fast for everybody, but it sure worked well for you and quickly. And I'm sure that once you began to see the results, there was no stopping you.
Yeah. And again, it didn't cure me. If I have, after that, a week later, if I had a potato, I'm going back up to 225, so it wasn't cured. It was just a matter of cutting the carbs. Thank goodness it's like my friend Tom told me. He said, obviously your pancreas still works. And I didn't realize until later, as I did some research, how important that was going to be. When I started watching more of your videos and Dr. Sten Ekberg's videos, which I found out about from watching your videos, the big problem really wasn't my pancreas. My pancreas was still working. My pancreas just couldn't keep up with the carbs I was shoving into my body.
Yeah, and that's probably true for the vast majority of type 2 diabetics, that their problem is insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome. And in many cases, once they cut the carbs, those numbers start to drop like a stone.
Yeah, like a stone. That's a good way to put it. They came down like a stone. I was shocked. Yeah, well, I bought an A1C test kit there. That was March of 2021. And I bought a good one, and it said that my A1C was 13.1.
Wow.
So for those of you out there who, you can get worse, but much worse than that is dead. So, and that's where I was. I was on death's door. So I started, I went a week, basically no carbs that I can recall. And then just from there, I added in salads, with, low carb, everything low carb, like cauliflower, broccoli, those kind of things, meat, salads, low carb yogurts. They have some great low carb yogurts. And I just really, really stuck with it. I'd say that was March 16th of 2021. I don't think I had a cheat day clear through till September, when I actually went to the doctor and had labs done. And so 6 months later, my A1C from the doctor was 6.0.
Fantastic improvement. Let's talk about your eyes. You had the ophthalmologist saying you'd be blind in a few years. How quickly did that resolve? And just tell us a little bit about the progress with your eyes.
Well, what happened was, of course, the cataracts they took care of. I had April 8th of 2021, I had the left eye done. April 15th, the right eye done. But what he was concerned was I had real severe, moderate diabetic retinopathy in the right eye and severe in the left eye. And he said I probably was going to have something done about that. But I had to wait 6 months until after the surgery till they could then really start doing anything about it. Well, 6 months later, when he sends me to the retinologist, guess what? The right eye's not bleeding anymore. And the retinologist was shocked, completely stunned. So was my eye surgeon. The left eye, and that was just through diet and nutrition. I did some research on what supplements specifically will help heal those problems with the eye. I bought those. I started taking them faithfully every day, continuing low carb. But the left eye, it was pretty bad. And so starting last September, I had to have injections in the left eye first it was every like 3 weeks, then they moved it out to 6 weeks, then 2 months. So from September to February, I had a total, I believe, of 5 different injections in the left eye.
Now, Jim, let me interrupt for a minute and let's get this straight for the people who are hearing about that and can hardly believe it. We're talking about an eye doctor sticking a needle in your eye. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Right in there, buddy.
I mean, I can't even imagine that. It hurts me to even think about that.
Well, honestly, it sounds worse than it is because they put these numbing drops in your eyes and this gel, and I'm terrified of needles, but it didn't feel like more than just taking your fingernails there and sticking your cheek. It wasn't bad. It's the idea. But here's the thing. They told me you'll have to have these shots probably the rest of your life. The eye was too far gone. And when I went in this February, they examined it and they said, well, we got good news for you. You're going to get a shot today, but we think this will be your last one. They said there was a couple little bleeders off on the left side, but not near the center where it's important, that could probably be cauterized and I'd be done. So they said, well, we'll see what happens. We'll have you come back in a month. So I went back in March. The doctor examined me and he goes, you know what? No more injections. Went in, zap, 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 here and there with a laser around the edges. And he said, whatever you're doing, just keep doing. He didn't ask me what I'm doing. He just said, whatever you're doing, keep doing. And I'm done with the injections. They don't want to see me for 6 months. And they said, then after that, it'll just be once a year.
So your eyes got resolved.
Oh, yeah.
And your blood sugar came down. Now, it's come down some since that 6.0, right?
Yeah, in September, it had gone from 13.1 in March to 6.0 in September. And then I tested again in January, and I was down to 5.5.
Wow. Just fantastic. Your direction of your eyes, your blood sugar, your glucose, and no doubt the incredibly high insulin levels that you've been experiencing, they've all gone down. They've all apparently come very close to normalizing. Wow, and double wow. That's just fantastic, Jim. And you think you're going to have any trouble living with this kind of a diet and lifestyle for the rest of your years?
No, but I don't have the self-control that you have. I've watched a couple of your videos where you say you really don't desire this, that, or the other. Now, you know what? I could sit down and eat an entire large pepperoni pizza right this moment, and want it, you know.
One last thing as we bring this to a close. We talked earlier, a few days ago, and you mentioned the importance of having accountability partners, and you have talked with this man who has been in Thailand. Tell us, give us a little encouragement along those lines. I think there's probably some people that really need to hear that.
Yeah, this man, I met him 20 plus years ago in business. He's been my mentor in business all these years. And that was something he taught us in business, is have an accountability partner. You say you're going to do this, 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 and this each day to build your business. Well, who are you accountable to? And so I knew that principle. But he said to me, Jim, he goes, you need the same thing with your diabetes. And he stepped up, and this guy offered twice a day, 7 days a week for over a year now. We check in with each other, what our sugar is, what our fasting sugar is, and what our post-meal sugar is after supper. And there's something psychological about knowing that you have to report to someone. If you're sitting out there, imagine if you had to send your numbers to Dennis Pollock or call him on the telephone every day and tell him what your numbers were. Would you think before you have that apple fritter or that cream stuffed eclair? And so knowing that my friend Tom, I got to tell him my numbers every single day. It's just one more emotional support to help me make the right decision, because I don't want to let him down. Obviously, we don't want to let ourselves down. That's the most important thing. But I don't want to let Tom down either. You know, I know that he's diabetic. And every day that I have success, every time I win the battle and I report those numbers to him, I know that encourages him to stay the course. And the same way, and plus a little bit of competitiveness. You know, this morning he was 109, I was 108, you know, so.